Good evening from Adelaide. I hope that you are doing well. In this video I will show you a game between Anish Giri and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. This is a game from Magnus Carlsen Invitational Tournament 2020. This is a rapid game, played on chess 24. Anish Giri had white pieces and he started with d4. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave played d5, c4, the queen's gambit, c6, the Slav defense, maybe, knight to f3, knight to f6, knight to c3, and now, not pawn takes pawn on c4. If pawn takes pawn on c4, then we would have the Slav defense. Lagrave played e6, the Semi-Slav defense. Bishop to g5, pinning the knight, h6, asking a question, white to move. Bishop takes, knight was played, let's take it back. If the bishop goes to h4, then black may play d takes on c4, or even g5. And after bishop to g3, then d takes on c4. Back to our game. So we have bishop takes on f6, and of course Lagrave recaptured with the queen. e3, g6, intending to fianchetto the dark squared bishop. White to move. In this position, Giri played very ambitious knight to e5, intending f4. Let's take it back. Bishop to d3 is the most played move, followed by castling. It has a proven record, it works well for white. Back to our game. Knight to e5, it's a rapid game and Giri is playing something different. Let's see how this works. Bishop to g7, f4, and Lagrave castled kingside. It is white to move. Instead of bishop to d3, queen to c2, black to move. How would you continue in this position if you had black pieces? Lagrave played c5, intending to open up the game. That move makes lots of sense, because white do not castle. D takes on c5. Black is already doing well. Knight to c6, challenging the knight on e5 now. Knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, bishop to d3. Black to move. Queen to e7 was played. Another way to continue was d4. This is an interesting idea. And if e takes on d4, then queen takes on f4. Black is better. Back to our game. Perhaps white can play knight to e4. But then after queen to d8, castling, d takes on e3. Black is standing slightly better. Back to our game. Queen to e7. Attacking the pawn on c5. Queen takes on c5, queen takes on e3. So, Giri played knight to a4, defending the pawn, but the knight is somewhat offside. The knight on the rim. Black to move. What would you do in this position if you had black pieces? Lagrave played the most logical move, and that is e5. Naturally, black wants to open the e-file. F takes on e5, queen takes on e5. In this position, Giri castled kingside, allowing black to take on e3. Queen takes on e3 check. King to h1. Bishop to e6, developing the bishop, connecting rooks. c takes on d5, bishop takes on d5. The material is equal, but black is standing better. Black also has a bishop pair. So Giri played bishop to c4, offering to trade bishops. Rook from a to d8, rook from a to e1, queen to g5. White to move. The knight on a4 can't go back in the game so easily. Perhaps Giri was worried about his second rank too. He played rook to e2. Let's take it back. Of course, knight to c3 can't be played because bishop takes on c4. Back to our game. Rook to e2 was played. Bishop takes on c4. Queen takes on c4. Rook to d2. Pardon me. Rook to d4. Attacking the queen. Extracting the knight on a4. Queen to a6. Defending the knight and threatening to take the pawn on a7. Also the pawn on c6. Which pawn to save? Which pawn is more important? A pawn or c pawn? What would you do? How would you defend? Maybe that's a trick question, huh? Okay, it's a trick question. Lagrave did not defend the pawn. He played bishop to e5, daring Giri to take the pawn. Giri played g3. Let's take it back. What's wrong with queen takes pawn on a7? This is a little puzzle for you. What did Lagrave have in mind in this position? What would you do in this position if you had black pieces? Are you ready to see the move? The move is queen to f4, threatening to take on h2, or maybe threatening to take the rook on f1. If rook takes queen, then check and checkmate. And what else? If king goes to g1, then queen takes on h2 check. And after king to f2, I guess the white king would not survive the king hunt. Back to our game. g3. Queen to h5. White to move. Rook to g2 was played. If knight comes back in the game, then bishop takes on g3 is unpleasant. So we have rook to g2. Black to move. How would you continue now? Should black activate the rook on f8? Or maybe there is a better move. I guess some people would play rook from f to d8. Lagrave played rook to d1. Queen to c4. Black to move. What would you do? Black played a move and white resigned, and the move is this amazing, brilliant move. I'll show it in a slow motion. Queen to f3. Giri resigned. If rook takes rook, well, let's take it back. Rook takes queen is not possible because the rook is pinned. So this is the most logical continuation. Rook takes rook, queen takes rook check, rook to g1, queen comes back to f3 with check, rook to g2, and then rook to d8, intending rook to d1. And how to stop that? How to stop that? If the queen goes to c1, then rook to d1 check, and black wins the queen. And what else? If the knight goes to c3, then bishop takes knight, and after pawn takes bishop or queen takes on c3, rook to d1, check. And then after queen to f1, rook takes queen, check, mate. Wow, that was a brilliant play by Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Fast and sharp. What do you think of this game?